Did you know that Black Hole Sun, one of the most popular grunge songs of all time, never even charted on the Billboard Top 100 songs? That's insane, because in today's video we'll be looking at more songs that didn't chart, didn't get number one, that sort of stuff. For example, Everlong as well, one of the most popular songs in the 90s, didn't even chart at the start, and it has a complicated history of getting charts and stuff, but basically all you have to know is Everlong didn't even chart at the start. We'll be looking at tons more popular rock songs that didn't get to number one, like Don't Stop Believing. Everybody knows that song. It only peaked at 9th, and right after that we've got 8th for the final countdown. Some of the biggest rock songs of all time didn't even get to the first place, including Smells Like Teen Spirit, which peaked at 6th. And let's not forget about Led Zeppelin, which never ever charted because of course they didn't release singles. By the way, did you know that? Because I didn't know that until quite recently. They never released a single, they only had those albums. So yeah, they never charted anywhere. Also, a lot of songs only did well in the US, while not in the UK. For example, Hotel California, yeah, it reached number one in the US, but nowhere near in the UK. And same goes for Sweet Child of Mine and Living on a Prayer. All these songs, they only did well in the US, and then in the UK they didn't do as well. But on the other side, we've got songs that did well in the UK, but not so much in the US, because Bohemian Rhapsody is one of those songs that, yeah, it hit number one in the UK, but it didn't actually hit number one in the US, which is really interesting. Dream On only ever got to 6th, and More Than a Feeling only ever got to 5th. So, Smoke on the Water, the iconic song with one of the most iconic riffs of all time, has got to 4th. Guns N' Roses have another entry on this list with Paradise City, which only reached number 5. Creep is another song that never got to number 1, and so is Wonderwall. Wonderwall peaked at 8th. Mr. Brightside got 10th, and these songs are so massive, so to say that they're not number 1 is quite insane, really. Boulevard of Broken Dreams got to number 2, so close, so close. And at the time, Candy Shop was actually at number 1, so the only thing stopping Boulevard of Broken Dreams from going number 1 was 50 Cent. Seven Nation Army, another one. White Stripes, I don't think White Stripes never even got in a top 10 in the UK or the US, and I know they didn't have many hits, but they definitely had a few, and to think that none of them ever got to the top 10 is pretty insane. Okay, I've just looked a bit more into it. I think they did maybe get a top 10 in like the UK or something, I don't know. It's quite hard because the charts are different in every country. In fact, a lot of these may be a bit different to what I'm saying, so if you know something that I don't, I guess you can correct me in the comments. Seven Nation Army definitely didn't get to number 1, which is very interesting actually. It's only got to 76th. We've got In the End by Linkin Park, another one that got to number 2. Paranoid got to number 4, and We Will Rock You and We Are the Champions, both of them never even got to number 1. Basket Case was in 26th, and surprisingly low for the next one by Green Day. We've got American Idiot. American Idiot only got to 61st, and that's one of the biggest punk songs of all time. Would you call it punk? I think it's punk. Is it punk? Okay, I'm already at the bottom of my list of singles that never got to number 1, but let's look at some albums that never got to number 1 in the meantime to make this video a bit longer. It's very short at the moment. Hybrid Theory is one of those albums that never got to number 2. This is the debut album of Linkin Park, and it's one of the most famous debut albums of all time. Yeah, it peaked at number 2 twice actually, went up and down for a bit, but never to number 1, which is really interesting. Another one is Let Go by Avril Lavigne, of course, all the like emos. Is she emo? I think she's emo music. Anyway, Let Go, yeah, I don't know anything about it, but apparently it peaked at number 2 as well. Interestingly, ABBA never got top 10 in their early stuff, so let me just get it out of the way. Voyage did get to number 2, never number 1, but Voyage did get to number 2, and that was their return album in 2021, which I actually haven't listened to all the way yet. I'll have to do that sometime. Anyway, yeah, it got to number 2, but actually none of the albums that they released in, you know, their actual career never got to top 10, which is insane. There's some great albums, like, what's it called? Voulez-Vous is such a good album. Almost every song in that album is good, and you've got The Visitors, and there's so many good albums by them, and none of them got to the top 10 even, which is really crazy. AM is the most streamed rock album of all time, and it didn't get to number 1. The Colour and the Shape is another album that never got to number 1. Okay, I'm gonna end the video there. If you've got any other albums or singles that you've heard that are really big and haven't topped the charts, you can put them down in the comments. I personally think that measuring a song's success on the charts is a bit stupid because it really just depends what other songs were released at the same time. So I don't really like to measure it with charts. Either way, it's fun to look at this list. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like down below. If you enjoyed my content, subscribe. See you in the next video. Goodbye.